Carvajal, Casemiro y Luka Modric.
Vinicius Jr. is not just a footballer anymore. He is the superstar Real Madrid built their future around. The Brazilian kid who became a Champions League final hero. The winger who dances in front of full stadiums. The player who has been praised, hated, protected, mocked, racially abused, defended by governments, watched by brands, and searched by millions. And that is why people do not only ask how good he is, they ask how rich he is, where he lives, what cars he owns, who he dates, why he keeps fighting back, and whether Real Madrid can really keep him forever. Because Vini's life now looks impossible to imagine if you remember where it started. A boy from São Gonçalo, where money was tight, the streets were rough, and even football boots were not always guaranteed. Today, he has a mansion in one of Madrid's richest neighborhoods, a closet filled with over 120 pairs of Nike Air Jordans, a garage full of luxury cars, and a name powerful enough to change laws. But the most interesting part is not the money. Vinicius José Paixão de Oliveira Jr. was born on July 12, 2000, in São Gonçalo, a working-class area near Rio de Janeiro. His father worked as a computer technician. His mother held the family together. There was love, faith, and football, but there was not luxury. Vini grew up chasing a ball through the streets, playing barefoot, copying Robinho, dreaming of Flamengo, and moving like a kid who had nothing to lose. At just 5 years old, his father took him to a football school linked with Flamengo. The talent was obvious, but talent does not remove distance. The journey to training was around 45 miles each way, so the family made a sacrifice. Vini moved in with his uncle Ulisses in Abolição, closer to Flamengo's training ground, but away from home. Imagine being a child, leaving your parents, not because you are already rich, but because the dream was too big to chase from your own bedroom. That was the first price Vini paid, and he kept paying it. By 16, Vini was no longer just a Flamengo prospect. He was one of the most wanted teenagers in football. Barcelona wanted him, Real Madrid wanted him, and, according to Vini himself, Barcelona may have offered more money, but he chose Madrid. Not the biggest offer, the biggest project. Real Madrid paid around £38 million for a teenager who could not even officially join until he turned 18. That sounds glamorous now, but at the time, it was pressure. He arrived in Madrid as a boy, carrying a price tag bigger than most grown professionals ever touch. And, at first, people laughed. Too raw, too many stepovers, too many missed chances, too chaotic, too much dancing, and too much joy. But Vini kept growing. Then came the nights that changed everything. 2022 Champions League final against Liverpool. He scored the winning goal. 2024 Champions League final against Borussia Dortmund. He scored again. 2 finals, 2 goals, same player. The boy from São Gonçalo had become a Real Madrid icon. By 2024, it felt like the football world was ready to crown him La Liga winner, Champions League winner, goal in the final, 24 goals and 11 assists, the new face of Madrid's attack. Real Madrid prepared to travel to the Ballon d'Or ceremony. Then, they cancelled the trip. Vini did not win. Rodri did. And Vini responded with one line that turned into one of the most famous messages of his career. "I'll do it 10 times if I have to. They're not ready." But football can be cruel. After that, his form dipped. The tweet became a joke. Critics started using his own words against him. Then came the 2026 World Cup. 4 goals in 4 matches, electric performances, Brazil watching, the world watching. And suddenly, the same line sounded different. They were laughing at him. Now, they were searching for him again. But Vini's story is not only about trophies. It is also about what he has survived. Across his years in Spain, he has faced repeated racist abuse in stadiums, from crowds, in front of cameras, and in front of the world. One of the darkest moments came before a derby when a mannequin wearing his shirt was hung from a bridge. Then came Mestalla in 2023. Vini stopped. He pointed. He spoke. and the whole world had to listen. It wasn't the first time, or the second, or the third. Then he said the line that shook Spanish football: "Racism is normal in La Liga." That moment did not just create headlines, it created consequences. Brazil's government reacted, players showed support, sponsors watched closely. Spain was forced into a conversation it could no longer avoid. Then came something historic. 2 prison sentences for racist abuse emerged and was directed at Vinicius. And in Brazil, the Vinicius Junior Law in Rio de Janeiro was implemented, allowing sporting events to be stopped because of racist behavior. A footballer that changed legislation. That is bigger than a goal. And now, after all of that, Vini's life looks completely different from the streets where it began. His net worth is estimated around $80 million, and at Real Madrid, he earns superstar money. With endorsements from Nike, Pepsi, Gatorade, and other major brands, his annual earnings have been placed around $60 million. But the money is not just about flexing. Vini built Instituto Vini Jr, using sport and technology to help young Brazilians. He helped transform a closed school in São Gonçalo that had been inactive for years. That is what makes his money story powerful. He did not just escape where he came from. He went back and built something there. But the criticism didn't always stop at his football. Vinicius's appearance became a target too. For years, people mocked his features online, turning even his face into another reason to attack him. Then, after Brazil's World Cup exit, Vinicius underwent a procedure to change the shape of his chin, something that was publicly confirmed by the dermatologist involved. He never publicly explained exactly why he decided to do it, and that's important, because whatever his reason was, it doesn't change who Vinicius became. The Champions League titles, the goals, the records, and everything he built came from far more than his appearance. But it does show something people often forget about footballers. Even when someone looks completely confident on the pitch, years of criticism can still affect them away from it. For Vinicius, the surgery became another reminder that behind the superstar, there is still a person who has had to deal with an enormous amount of public scrutiny. And now, with his career reaching another level, the conversation is no longer just about how he looks. It's about everything he has managed to become. Then there is the garage, a Lamborghini Urus, a Mercedes Maybach S680, a BMW i7, Audi models from his Real Madrid sponsorship days, an estimated $3.5 million car collection. But the funniest part is this. Vini does not have a driving license. So one of the fastest, flashiest footballers in the world owns cars he cannot actually drive. In his early Madrid years, he was known for getting rides to training from Luka Modric and Karim Benzema. Imagine that. Champions League legends acting like your personal drivers while you become one of the most dangerous attackers in football. That is why this lifestyle section works. It is not just rich player buys cars. It is rich, funny, human, and slightly ridiculous. Vini's money doesn't only come from the shirt he wears on the pitch. His image has become a business of its own. Nike has been one of the biggest brands attached to him, but Vini's appeal goes beyond football. He has become increasingly associated with fashion, major advertising campaigns, and the kind of global celebrity image that few players his age have built. And that's where his lifestyle starts to make more sense, because the cars, the clothes, and the luxury aren't just coming from a football salary. Vini has built himself into a brand, and every goal, every trophy, and every viral moment makes that brand even more valuable. But the most interesting part is what that money actually buys him. Off the pitch, Vini is more private than people expect. He does not turn every relationship into content. He does not explain every rumor, but that only makes people search more. His relationship with Brazilian model and influencer Maria Julia Mazzali has drawn attention for years, especially after fans noticed matching photos from the same bathroom in Madrid. No big red carpet campaign, no constant headlines, just mystery, Brazil, Madrid, and a fan base that watches everything. His younger brother Robert is also a professional footballer, and that matters too. Because Vini did not just make it out alone, he opened another door for his family. For months, there was a question hanging over Vinicius Jr. Was this really going to be the end of his Real Madrid story? Arsenal had emerged as a serious alternative, and for a while, his future in Madrid looked uncertain. But now, that chapter is over. On August 6, 2026, Real Madrid officially announced that Vinicius had signed a new contract, keeping him at the club until June 30th, 2032. The deal ended months of speculation and made one thing clear. Madrid still sees Vini as one of the faces of its future. And the timing makes this even more interesting. Vinicius is entering this new era with a completely different status from the teenager who arrived from Flamengo in 2018. In 8 seasons, he has made 375 appearances, scored 128 goals and won 14 major trophies with Real Madrid, including 2 Champions League titles. He has also collected some of football's biggest individual awards, including the Best FIFA Men's Player Award in 2024. So now, instead of wondering where Vini will play next, the question becomes what he can build in Madrid. He is entering the next phase of his career alongside a club going through its own rebuild, with Jose Mourinho back as manager and Madrid adding major pieces to the squad. And there is something almost full circle about it. The kid Madrid gambled on is now locked in until 2032. The player, once questioned for his finishing, is now one of the club's biggest attacking stars. And the player who spent years fighting to be respected is now entering his prime with the biggest stage in football still in front of him. Whatever comes next, whether it be more Champions League nights, more records, more trophies, or even more pressure, Vini's story at Real Madrid is no longer about whether he belongs there. Now, it's about how far he can take it. If this video moved you, share it with someone who needs to see it today. Thanks for watching.